Hello, hello, beautiful humans of the planet Earth. I'm happy to see you guys here again on my channel. It's been a little while since last time. So last time the piece I would say was at the gouache part. On that day I had done basically the underpainting. And here you guys are going to see me a little further along in the process. So at this point, I have decided to start adding black and white oil paint. It's actually really interesting because there's a clip in between this one and the gouache one that we did at first. And what happened in between that video was that I centered the proportions out a little bit better. Here in the video, you're actually going to see my professor helping me out understand where the actual features of the face are, such as the eyebrows, the eyes, the mouth. It's actually really cool because a lot of the faces, there's just like a general structure that faces follow. It's the anatomy. So right before I actually started getting working on this particular video, I had done an analysis of the skull. For you guys following me, I'm sure you guys saw it in the shorts. I basically sat in a light box and I decided to go ahead and structure the skull beneath my flesh of my face to find where the structure, the integral structure of the skull is. So what my professor was asking from me was basically the ability to see the structure beneath the skin. He wanted to see the bones that are holding up the skin. I know it's paint, I know it's 2D, but we're talking more about tricking the eye into believing that there's three-dimensional things on the surface. So he told me that it wasn't looking like there was actual depth on the canvas, it was looking flat. And so through doing a skull study, which you can see my skull studies on the right top side, through doing those, I definitely got a little bit more of an understanding of what's beneath. And so once you understand that at a certain part of the face, it's hollow or it goes deep, you're obviously not going to put a lighter tone because that's going to create like forwardness. It's going to create closer to the eyeball instead of farther away from the eyeball. So it definitely helped me out. I have always struggled a lot with portraits. And so, I mean, I feel like even here you can see it. I've definitely gotten a lot of compliments. I've had a lot of my peers be really impressed. But I do find that personally, as I'm doing this, every second that is happening, I am suffering. I can confirm as the person that is working it. Sorry about my hair clip. You can see it in the video. It's going all over the place. It always does that. I don't know how to fix it. I think the hair clip is too heavy. So it's going to be moving around. Sorry about that. But yeah, back to the face. So when I started doing faces, I would definitely say they wouldn't even look like people. It was so bad. So considering where I started and even where it is right now, I think it's a lot of progress. I definitely feel like I'm doing a fantastic job. It's not where I want it yet, but it's definitely getting there. And I do think that as I work through it, I will get closer and closer. So at this point, I started using a brush that was a little bit bigger than the other one because I wanted it to be more general and more just easier to smooth out instead of kind of locking in on the eyes or, just the little details. I decided to go back towards the main forms. And then I also really learned and kind of honed in on what a soft edge is and what a hard edge is. So a soft edge is going to be when you have something that transitions really smoothly from grays into whites or from blacks into grays. It'll be a very nice gradient. Think of like an apple or a ball, a sphere. And then a hard edge is going to be when it's like a really obvious transition from dark to light. So it could be right there at the edge of my face where it's black hair and the side of my cheek. That's a pretty hard edge. But if you look at the edge on my forehead where it's like darker part of the forehead versus lighter part of the forehead, that part is going to be a softer edge. So it's very interesting, but basically all the things that we perceive in our reality are going to be a composition of hard edges and soft edges. And together they make form. They make the things that we perceive as lines, which lines don't actually exist in our 3D reality. Those are actually hard edges. So here I am focusing on the soft edges portion. And I'm really trying to smoothen everything out because my face is pretty round. It's very soft. And so I'm trying to capture just the softness of my face. I have very round cheeks, very round cheeks. And so I think with the round cheeks, the way the light is going to reflect off of that is going to be very soft, very smooth, gentle transitions. So that's really what I'm trying to capture. Now, going into this piece, so this piece is actually a midterm. It's a homework assignment. Hilarious. This piece here is something. It's a conversation with an artist of the past. The artist that I decided to speak with is called Leonardo da Vinci. Maybe you've heard of him. I know we all have. It's okay. So I decided to approach a technique called sfumato, which I have the definition here for you. So sfumato is actually going to be the technique of allowing tones and colors to shade gradually into one another, producing softened outlines or hazy forms. Hazy, what a nice word. So when I went into thinking about how gentle and how soft I wanted all the transitions to be, I picked sfumato in particular because sfumato allows for that gentleness to continue. So here you're gonna see my classmate Star. She came out and helped me. Big, big, big shout out to Star. She's helped me so much throughout this process. She is a fantastic artist. She really, really does well with faces. She told me doing portraits is her favorite. Isn't that funny? So my weakness is faces, and my strong suit is gonna be objects. On her end, her weakness is objects and her strong suit is faces. So we're kind of the yin and yang in the classroom. She helps me understand how to create an organic form. And then I try my best. She's really good. I try my best to help her with what I can in terms of my knowledge. So there you can see her trying and helping me out with what I'm doing in terms of where we're adding everything. What we're basically doing here together is making sure that the proportions of all the features are actually like more accurate. They don't have to be perfect because it's not about being perfect, but it's about actually capturing the proportions of, for example, the corner of the inside of the eye to the corner of the lips. And this is something that I'm learning. So it's kind of interesting. This isn't going to go away. Now that I'm learning these things, that the eyebrows, the edge of the eyebrow goes to the edge of the corner of the eye and the edge of the lip. It's so, I see it everywhere now. As I'm walking around, as I'm riding the bus, like I can see people's faces and start connecting the lines and stuff. It's very interesting stuff. So yeah, basically, whenever I decided to start this project, I originally wanted an approach of a Renaissance style finish, which Renaissance is very soft as well. And like Leonardo da Vinci, arguably, is but it was more sfumato in particular. So sfumato is almost like it reminds me a lot of when you're developing photos, like a photography. And the old school photos, you go into the red room. You add first like the yellow layer, and then the blue layer, and then the red layer, and it makes brown, and that's how you get like a flesh tone. That's kind of what this process reminds me of. So what's gonna happen is that I have to get down a really, really good gray. It's called a grayscale. So I'm going to basically be creating the entire piece with all of its details and refinements in black and white. And then I'm going to go over it with really, really thin layers of colored paint. And the thin layers are going to pile up on top of each other. And they're going to create new colors as they combine on top of each other on the canvas. So think, for example, a really sheer layer of blue and a really sheer layer of yellow. So I'll put the blue sheer layer on first, let it dry, and then I will throw the yellow sheer layer on after, and then it will become green. It's literally like magic. But the reason you might want to approach something that way is because it'll allow the combination of colors to be really gentle. It'll be so soft and beautiful. Something that I think about, like when I think of sfumato, is the Mona Lisa. I know a lot of people have heard of it. If you haven't, definitely check it out. But when you look at it, look at how softly the colors come together. And the reason for that is because of the way that he decided to layer on the color instead of painting with paints that already have color in there. He created a really, really nice gray under and then added those sheer layers of color, gradually working towards the intensity he wanted. And he controlled it. And that's why it looks so off-putting, which is funny because it is off-putting. And the reason it's off-putting is because within our real life, we actually don't experience color in the way that it's being experienced on that canvas. So I'm definitely trying to create something similar. Obviously, this isn't gonna be no Mona Lisa, but I'm gonna use the style because this is a conversation. So hopefully, the goal of this practice is to develop my own process and to hopefully eventually be able to create something that's gonna be just as monumental as the Mona Lisa. But this is basically the place where I get to practice the strategy and see if I can even pull it off because this is a pretty challenging thing. So our professor asked us all to step out of our comfort zone for these projects, and I definitely feel like I'm miles outside of my comfort zone here. So thank you for joining me on this many miles long journey. And it's honestly pretty early on still in the process. Although the face is looking fantastic, I definitely want to still refine and then add a little bit more detail to the background. But it's looking really, really promising. So I'm really looking forward to adding the sheer layers of paint later. And once I get all of the dimensions and the shading locked in properly, I will definitely show you guys. Definitely stay tuned. Let me know if you guys have any questions, comments. Please don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate all the support and love. You guys are amazing. And yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking about. If you guys are working on any art, that'd be cool to see. And thank you for watching.